Thanks for staying with us. It's still Vibrant Daybreak, and it's now time to keep you abreast of what's happening in Ekiti State ahead of the big one, which is the election, the governorship election taking place tomorrow. We have our own senior correspondent right there in Ekiti to bring us up to speed regarding the happenings in the state. Igboje Quarrier.
Oh, fine. We're doing well.
Okay, so what's the latest? I know you talked about the security men on ground yesterday. As the police as well as other sister agencies also present in terms of ensuring that there's peace and order in the state. We're looking at the state of affairs just 24 hours before the election itself. In terms of security, is it still all peaceful, and what are the numbers like in terms of the personnel we have on the various streets in Ekiti?
Yes, of course. Just yesterday. Towards the evening yesterday, there was a stakeholders meeting, security meeting by the security agents on the ground for the election, which was actually coordinated by the DIG that was deployed from Abuja to Ekiti. The Inspector General of Police, talking about the person of DIG Johnson Kokumo, chairing that meeting, giving orders to the men and officers on the ground to ensure that the process is age-free. Of course, on a one-on-one interview with him, he told us that they deployed over 18,000 personnel for these elections to ensure that nothing of such issues will occur. And they are going to do everything possible to ensure that the people go under a peaceful atmosphere to cast their votes for their preferred candidate. The DIG also gave a strict warning to parents, calling their wards to order, not to allow money back to influence them, to turn them into thugs. He said if there's no function or actions of thuggery in the elections, of course the police will not have any job to be doing in the elections, rather than just to observe the process and ensure that it's peaceful. One issue that is...
Okay, go on.
One issue that is calling for concern just yesterday is the issue of the rumor making the rounds that a court in Abuja actually disqualified the candidate of the APC just yesterday. That gives serious tension in the state. But of course, towards the evening of it, the APC public secretary in the state, the person of Daily Ibe, came out to say that that issue is unfounded and is the handwork of mischief makers in the state, that the candidate of the APC, Biodun Oyebaje, remains the candidate for the party and is contesting the election. Now, away from that, quickly let's look at how the election is going to go. Which of course, just
Igboje, sorry, let me interrupt you, please. Before you go on, I'm talking about the court's order from Abuja that nullifying the candidacy of the APC's aspirant or candidate now. Did the spokesperson you just mentioned, did he state categorically that the party filed a counter motion in court?
He didn't actually state all that.
Okay.
He said that what is presently going on is not is an inter-party affair, and the party has dealt with it, and there's no need for members of the public to be panicking. There's no need for the electorate and supporters of the All Progressives Congress to be in a panic that is a rumor by mischief makers.
Okay, but if the court order is not vacated, it's still going to hold grounds despite the parties solving their internal crisis. So he didn't say anything regarding that as well.
Of course, if the court order is not vacated, of course we know what will happen. The election will go on. After the election, probably they will go back to the court to sort their issues and all of that. But of course, the Independent National Electoral Commission has published names of candidates that are participating in the elections, and there is no going back on it because it's barely 24 hours to the elections and ballot papers have been printed and the process and guidelines for the elections have been given. Materials currently, as I speak with you, at the local government headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission. I mean, the 16 local government areas where the election is going to be conducted come tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. All right, now let's quickly look at the presence of security personnel. Over time, we've seen the fact that as much as it's good to have a lot of security personnel to maintain peace and order, but we've also had reports that sometimes it instills fear in the peace for the people because of the chaos that happens during elections. So how is the Ekiti State government working towards handling this, that security be provided rather than instilling fear in these people?
Of course, Margaret, we know that the government of the day does not have anything to do with the election as far as we are concerned. The incumbent governor just tomorrow is just going to go to his polling unit and cast his vote and go back to his house. The security for the elections is being mobilized, organized by the Inspector General of Police, who himself was in Ekiti just this week alongside with the INEC chairman. And just right now, I told us that the Inspector General of Police has given a marching order to the DIG, that is the person of Johnson Kukumo, who said they have mobilized over 1,000 police officers. Now, the question was asked rightly that we just said, that how will these security personnel do their jobs and not instill fear on the electorate comes tomorrow? Now, when this question was passed across to him, he said that the orders given to the police officers and the security agents on ground to include the Civil Defense Corps and the military is that they should be civil in whatever they are doing. They should not instill fear on the people. They should ensure that the people are protected to carry out their fundamental human rights, which is exercising their franchise for the preferred candidate. And he has also warned that no security official or agent should be seen very close to the polling booth where the electorate are casting their votes, that the police or every other security agent on the ground should be apolitical as the process continues. And he has given assurance to members of public and residents of Ekiti State and all the electorate that they should come out a month to cast their votes for their preferred candidates and not to be afraid of what they are saying in town, that they brought all these men together to ensure that the process is peaceful and not to intimidate them.
Okay, Paul, let's look at, the INEC now. That's the principal, umpire here. What's the state of preparedness for them concerning conducting a free and fair, credible election?
Of course, yesterday, why the distribution, the main activity for yesterday, as far as the Independent National Electoral Commission was concerned, is to move the sensitive materials, deploy the sensitive materials to the local government headquarters of the commission. And this was done under the supervision of the REC, which is the Resident Electoral Commissioner, Dr. Stella Ramon. He was right there ensuring that the materials that were brought to them, all the materials were intact and they got opened in the presence of the agents of the political party, security agents, even journalists and observers. And all this were done and the materials were moved from the state headquarters and now they are domiciled in the various local governments as we speak, getting prepared to move them to other areas like the registration areas. Now, Santi, that the election is one election that we always want to watch keenly because of the violence that we see in the elections, in previous elections, and this is why we are following it bit by bit. Now, we have 16 local government areas and we have 177 registered areas.
Yes.
Also, within the 3 senatorial districts of a number of federal constituencies that has to do with 6, and the number of state constituencies is 26. Of course, the total number of polling units that we are going to be expecting voting activity to take place in this state come tomorrow is 2,445. And if we have to do all these calculations, it means that the materials must get out of the local government areas on time, probably before the end of today, and be getting into the registered areas or the rack centers to ensure onward distribution to the polling unit, so that we don't have these issues of late arrival of election materials. Okay. Now, there's one significant factor we're going to be looking at in this election tomorrow. That is the fact that of the over 989,202 registered voters, INEC said over 8,000 have collected their permanent voter card. And of all this number we're looking at, Santi, we have women taking the lead.
Yeah, okay. I was just coming to that, Iboje. That was just a question I was about to ask you. So with that number and for registered voters and the numbers of those who have taken their permanent voters card, it's a large margin, very large, and then there's a need to bridge the gap. So with that kind of margin, do you think that there'll be sort of relatively good numbers coming out for the elections tomorrow and votes being casted, and those numbers are really important when it comes to these elections? What do you think? What do you think about that?
Of course, if we have over 8,000 voters have collected their PVC, then we are looking at the prospect of these people coming out to cast their vote. It's going to be a positive one. But the issues we are having right now is on the part of the security. That's why we are talking, and we are saying everything possible that needed to be done to be put on the table and be done urgently for the people to know that the security agents on the ground are not here to inflict fear on them, because the number is quite positive of the numbers of PVCs that have been collected. And if they are put to use, it means that a large number of the electorate and residents of the state will be decided who becomes the next governor of the state.
Now, do you have information on the card readers, if they are functioning perfectly, just by the side? Do you have information on that?
Of course, we are visiting the local government headquarters today. Of course, you know that these are sensitive materials of election, which you will not, they will not want to get into right now, because some persons will want to see it as a manipulation of the process. But we're going to be seeing all this early tomorrow morning, where the materials will be put to use. But quickly before I go, let's look at the process, Sanse. Let's look at the process, Margaret.
Okay.
Before this time, we've had issues with the Independent National Electoral Commission. Yesterday, while these materials were being distributed, some of the stakeholders, like the chairman of IPAC, which is the inter-party committee,
advisory committee, yes.
We're giving advisory committee in the state.
Yes.
We're giving credit to the Independent National Electoral Commission that what they have done so far is a plus to the process.